Today, I'm going to show you 20 things one $2 bottle of hydrogen peroxide can do, and most of them will replace a product you're overpaying for right now. Stick with me, because the swimmer's ear fix in the first minute is something almost nobody knows. The one at number 12 will save your pet from a skunk disaster, and the massive gardening hack at the end is something I use every spring to bring old seeds back from the dead. I've been using this stuff for years for jobs that are nowhere on the label, and once you see the full list, that brown bottle under your sink is never going to look the same. Everything you're about to see runs on one simple fact. Hydrogen peroxide is just water with one extra oxygen atom bolted on. That is the entire molecule. The second it touches an infection, a fungus, a stain, a rot, that extra oxygen atom rips loose, and that little violent burst of oxygen is what does all the work. Then what is left over turns back into plain water. No poison, no residue, nothing toxic left behind. That is exactly why the same chemistry gets repackaged and sold to you as a dozen different specialty products at 5 and 10 times the price. One bottle, 20 jobs. Let me prove it. Number 1. A few drops in your ear after swimming stops swimmer's ear before it starts. Swimmer's ear is an infection from bacteria that get trapped in the damp ear canal, and those bacteria are almost entirely anaerobic. Put a couple of drops of diluted peroxide in the ear right after you swim, and you create an oxygen-rich environment they simply cannot live in. Prescription drops treat the infection after it has already set in and started to hurt. This stops it from ever taking hold. Number 2, it heals a canker sore noticeably faster. Those small, miserable mouth ulcers are slowed down by anaerobic bacteria that cannot survive around oxygen. Hold a 50-50 mix of peroxide and water on the sore for about 60 seconds, then spit it out. The oxygen kills the bacteria, stalling the healing, and feeds the raw tissue directly. It is medically documented. It costs almost nothing, and almost no one thinks to do it. Number 3, it keeps a bird bath clear of algae without poisoning the birds. A small splash of peroxide in the water stops green algae from forming between cleanings. The oxygen disrupts the algae cells before they can establish. And because peroxide breaks down into nothing but water, by the time a bird actually drinks from it, there's nothing harmful left. Garden centers sell little bottles of bird bath treatment for exactly this, and a lot of it is the same peroxide chemistry dressed up with a bird on the label. Number 4, it sanitizes a humidifier without blowing chemicals into your air. The warm, wet tank of a humidifier is a perfect breeding ground for mold and bacteria, and a dirty humidifier sprays all of that straight into the air you breathe all night. Add a cup of 3% peroxide to the tank, let it sit, then rinse. It kills the mold and bacteria, then breaks down into pure water vapor, so there's nothing left to aerosolize. Use bleach for this, and you are misting bleach residue into your bedroom. Peroxide leaves only water. Number 5, it keeps berries and soft produce from molding for days longer. Strawberries and raspberries come home from the store already carrying invisible mold spores on the skin. That is why one fuzzy berry can turn the entire container overnight. Give them a quick bath in a sink of water with a splash of peroxide, then dry them well and refrigerate. The oxygen kills those surface spores before they can spread, so the whole batch lasts far longer. To be straight with you, this is killing surface mold and bacteria. That is all the store-bought produce wash does too, and they charge you several dollars a bottle for it. Number 6, it is the best blood and protein stain remover there is, and the reason why is genuinely fascinating. Pour peroxide on a fresh blood stain, and it erupts into thick, white foam. That foam is not random. Blood is full of an enzyme called catalase, and catalase tears peroxide apart at tremendous speed, dumping all that oxygen at once. And that violent fizzing is what physically lifts the stain up and out of the fibers. It works on blood, sweat, and other protein stains that ordinary detergent just smears deeper. The exact same reaction that foams on a scraped knee is what saves the shirt. Number 7. Mixed with one spice from your cabinet, it removes rust stains that nothing else touches. Rust stains on clothing, upholstery, or canvas tarp are almost impossible to get out with normal cleaners. Make a paste of peroxide and cream of tartar, the white powder in the baking aisle, and spread it on the stain. The peroxide oxidizes the iron while the tartaric acid grabs hold of it and pulls it up out of the fiber. The rust remover sprays at the hardware store are built on this same 2-part reaction, sold at a steep markup. Quick gut check here at number 8. If you're still with me, you are seeing how one simple molecule replaces half the shelf at the home improvement store. Let's keep going. Number 8. It sanitizes a wooden cutting board deeper than bleach with none of the danger. Raw chicken on a wood board pushes bacteria down into the grain where dish soap cannot reach. Pour peroxide across the board and the oxygen burst drives down into the wood and kills bacteria like Salmonella and E. coli where they are hiding. Then it breaks down into plain water, so there's nothing toxic left sitting on the surface where you prep your next meal. Bleach can leave a chemical film soaked into the grain. Peroxide just fizzes, works, and evaporates clean. Number 9. It kills the bacteria in your kitchen sponge better than the microwave trick everyone swears by. That sponge is, by the numbers, one of the dirtiest objects in your entire house. The popular fix is to microwave it. But that only works if the sponge is soaking wet, it misses anything near a metallic scrubbing pad, and those metal fibers can spark a fire. Instead, drop the sponge in straight 3% peroxide for 10 minutes. It reaches every surface, kills far more of the bacteria, and there's zero fire risk. I keep a cup by the sink and soak mine twice a week. Number 10. It makes cut flowers last nearly twice as long. Flowers in a vase do not die of thirst. They die because bacteria multiply in the water, slime up the cut ends of the stems, and block them from drinking. Add a few drops of peroxide to the vase water, and the oxygen keeps that water clean and bacteria-free, so the stems keep drinking for days longer. My partner brings home grocery store bouquets, and the ones I treat are still standing long after the untreated ones have wilted into the trash. The little paper packet of flower food the florist sells you is built on the same idea. Number 11. It strips moss and green algae off decks, siding, fences, and greenhouse glass. That green and black film that creeps across the shady north side of everything is living growth, and the oxygen in peroxide kills it down at the root without the harsh runoff of chlorine bleach, which scorches your lawn and your flower beds when it washes off the deck. Spray it on, let it bubble for a few minutes, rinse it down. People rent pressure washers and buy jugs of caustic deck cleaner for a job. A cheap bottle handles gently. Number 12. This is the skunk fix, and it is the one to burn into your memory because the famous remedy everybody reaches for is a total myth. Tomato juice does nothing. It only masks the smell while your eyes water and you waste a case of it. Skunk spray is an oily set of compounds called thiols, and the real chemical fix, the one veterinarians actually hand out, is a mix of 1 quart of 3% peroxide, a quarter cup of baking soda, and a teaspoon of dish soap. The peroxide oxidizes the thiols and converts them into molecules that have no smell at all. Our dog took a direct hit one summer. Tomato juice did absolutely nothing. This formula erased it in a single wash. Mix it fresh, use it immediately, and never seal it in a closed bottle. Number 13. It tests the freshness of your supply and exposes the markup. Peroxide slowly turns back into plain water as it sits, so an old bottle can be nearly useless. The test takes 2 seconds. Pour a little into the sink and watch. If it fizzes, it is still strong. If it just lies there flat, it has gone to water. Now the reveal. Go read the back labels of the products you already buy. Oxygen laundry booster, produce wash, plant fungicide, wound cleaner, cutting board sanitizer, flower food, bird bath treatment, humidifier tablets, rust remover, skunk shampoo, teeth whitener. You keep finding the same active ingredient, hydrogen peroxide, wearing a different costume in a different aisle at a different markup every single time. 1 molecule, a dozen labels. We're entering the gardening bonus round now. If you have been waiting to see how this stuff saves your garden, this is your section. Number 14. It revives old seeds that should be dead. Every gardener has a drawer of old seed packets from 3 or 4 seasons ago, and the conventional wisdom is to throw them out because seeds lose the ability to sprout as they age. Here is what is actually happening. As a seed sits for years, its protective coat hardens and oxidizes, sealing the living embryo inside behind a shell it can no longer break through. A long soak fixes it. Put those old seeds in a cup of water with a teaspoon of peroxide and leave them up to 2 hours. The oxygen eats away at that hardened coat and reopens the path for water and air to reach the embryo. I pulled out a packet of squash seeds that were 4 years old, gave half of them the soak, and left the other half dry. The soaked ones came up. The dry ones never did. You can resurrect a whole drawer of seeds you were about to toss. Number 15. On fresh seeds, the same soak makes them germinate dramatically faster. A new seed has natural dormancy chemicals that tell it to wait, plus that same protective coat. A shorter soak, 20 to 30 minutes in the same weak solution, strips the dormancy chemicals and softens the coat, and the seed wakes up early. I do this every spring with peppers and tomatoes, which are famously slow and stubborn, and they break the surface days ahead of the untreated batch sitting in the next tray. Same seeds, same soil, same windowsill. The soak is the only difference. Number 16. It stops the silent killer that wipes out seedlings overnight. It is called damping off. Your seeds sprout, they look perfect for a week, and then one morning the little stems flop over at the soil line and rot. That is a fungus living in damp soil, and it kills more first-time gardeners' trays than anything else every spring. Water your seedlings with a mild peroxide solution, and the oxygen burst kills that fungus on contact while feeding oxygen straight to the young roots. People buy expensive fungicide powders for this exact problem. You already own the cure. Number 17. It can turn a dead stalled compost pile back into a fast one. Compost slows to a crawl when the inside of the pile runs out of oxygen and goes anaerobic. That is the pile that just sits there wet and sour for months without breaking down. Spray a diluted peroxide solution into the pile as you turn it, and you are injecting pure oxygen straight into those dead pockets. That feeds the aerobic bacteria that decompose material fast and starves the sluggish anaerobic ones. It can take a pile that would have needed 3 months and push it to finished compost in closer to 6 weeks. Number 18. It is the secret behind clean hydroponics and fast, mold-free sprouting. If you grow microgreens, sprouts, or anything with roots sitting in water, your enemy is the slime and mold that takes over and rots the roots. A small amount of peroxide in the water keeps it oxygen-rich and sterile, so the roots stay bright white and the mold never gets a foothold. Serious indoor growers live by this. It is the same oxygen trick from the soil, just moved into water. Number 19. It can bring a plant back from root rot, which is normally a death sentence. Overwatering does not kill a plant with too much water. It kills it by choking the oxygen out of the soil, which lets anaerobic rot move in and turn healthy roots into brown mush. A diluted peroxide drench delivers the one thing that drowning plant is starving for. It floods the soil with oxygen, kills the rot, and gives the surviving roots a chance to breathe and rebuild. If a plant is wilted even though the soil is soaking wet, that contradiction is your signal, and this is your rescue. Number 20. It is the cleanest way to wipe out fungus gnats. If you have houseplants, you know them. The tiny black flies that rise up in a little cloud every time you water. The flies are not really the problem. Their larvae are, living in the top inch of soil and chewing on your plant's roots. Mix 1 part peroxide to 4 parts water and drench the soil. It fizzes the instant it hits, kills the larvae on contact, and is completely harmless to the plant once it breaks back down into water. I had a fern that was infested for months. Tried letting it dry out, tried sticky traps, nothing worked. 2 soil drenches ended it for good. That is the part that genuinely got me when I finally added it all up. We have been trained to believe every job needs its own special product, its own brand, and its own price tag, when the truth is that a huge share of what is under your sink and out in your garage is the same handful of simple chemicals in fancy packaging. Hydrogen peroxide is the clearest proof there is. It rescues your ears, scrubs your house, saves your food, heals your skin, rescues your dog, and even brings your garden back to life. And it has been sitting in the first aid aisle for $2 the entire time, waiting for somebody to tell you what it actually does. I keep the big bottle in the garage and a small one by the kitchen sink now, and I reach for it more than almost anything else I own. $2, 20 jobs, and not one good reason left to keep paying for the fancy versions. If this saved you money and a trip down the cleaning aisle, share it with someone who needs it. See you in the next one.